Luther Vandross died the most tragic death. But what they didn't tell you is even worse. Behind the smooth love songs and Grammy wins was a man drowning in secrets. A man whose body was failing him. A man who couldn't live as his true self. The public saw perfection. They missed the pain. On July 1st, 2005, Luther Vandross took his final breath at JFK Medical Center in New Jersey. He was only 54 years old. The official cause was a heart attack. But that heart attack was just the end of a much longer, darker story. Luther was the voice of romance for millions. His silky tenor made women swoon, and men wish they could sing like that. He sold over 30 million albums worldwide. He won 8 Grammy Awards. Songs like Never Too Much and Dance with My Father became instant classics. But behind those love ballads was a man fighting battles nobody knew about. The beginning of the end started on April 16, 2003. Luther was at his New York home, having just finished recording vocals for his album, Dance with My Father. Then it happened. A massive stroke hit him like lightning. The stroke was so severe it put him in a coma for nearly 2 months. While unconscious, his body was attacked by meningitis and pneumonia. Doctors had to perform a tracheotomy just to keep him breathing. When he finally woke up, Luther wasn't the same man. His voice, once crystal clear and powerful, was now slurred and slow. The man who could hit notes that made angels weep could barely speak properly. He needed a wheelchair to get around. His face showed the damage. But Luther never gave up on music. Even in his broken state, he kept singing. Rehearsals became his therapy. His passion for music was stronger than his physical limitations. The stroke wasn't random. It was the result of years of health problems Luther had been hiding from the public. He suffered from type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure. These weren't just minor issues. They were silent killers working inside him for years. Luther's relationship with food was complicated and painful. A close friend revealed he thought about food all day, every day, dawn to dusk. This is a classic sign of eating disorders. In the 1980s, he went through dramatic weight loss that made fans call him Skinny Luther. Talk shows of that era would shame him for his size. They made jokes about his appearance. This kind of body shaming would be considered cruel today. But back then, it was just entertainment. The constant public scrutiny about his weight may have stopped Luther from getting the medical help he needed. When you're afraid of being judged, you avoid doctors. His diabetes went poorly managed for years because of this shame. His family history made things worse. His father died from diabetes complications when Luther was just 8 years old. Luther was genetically predisposed to these problems, but shame kept him from fighting them properly. After 2 years of declining health following his stroke, Luther's body finally gave up. On that July morning in 2005, his heart stopped beating. The heart attack was caused by complications from his stroke. The stroke was caused by his unmanaged diabetes and high blood pressure. Doctors said his death was preventable. With proper diabetes management, Luther could have lived much longer. But shame, secrecy, and public pressure kept him from getting the care he needed. The lies weren't just about his health. Luther lived his entire career hiding who he really was as a person. For decades, rumors swirled about Luther's sexuality. His bachelor status, his flamboyant stage presence, and his emotional performances made people wonder. Some fans even claimed to hear hidden messages about his personal life in his songs. Luther never confirmed or denied these rumors. In interviews, he would say his obligation to fans was just his talent and hard work. He created an air of mystery around his private life on purpose, but the truth came out after his death. In 2017, music legend Patti LaBelle revealed on live television that Luther was gay. She said he had confided in her years earlier. According to Patti, Luther explained why he stayed in the closet. He didn't want to upset his mother, even though she probably already knew. He also worried about his female fan base. Luther built his career as a romantic crooner singing to women. He feared coming out would destroy that image and hurt his career. The 1970s and 1980s were not accepting times for gay artists, especially black R&B singers. The AIDS epidemic made things even harder. False rumors spread that Luther had AIDS, which added another layer of fear and shame. Luther chose his family's comfort and his career over living authentically. That choice came with a heavy emotional cost. But the most shocking secret from Luther's past happened early in his solo career. On January 12, 1986, Luther was driving his customized Mercedes through the Hollywood Hills. He was going 50 miles per hour in a 35 miles per hour zone. Something went wrong. His car veered across the double yellow line and crashed into 2 other vehicles. The passenger in Luther's car was 27-year-old Lawrence "Larry" Salvemini. Larry wasn't just a friend, he was Luther's manager and the brother of Jimmy Silvemini, who was also in the car that night. Larry was killed instantly. Luther suffered 3 broken ribs, a broken hip, and facial cuts. Jimmy survived with cuts and bruises. Police found no evidence of drinking or drug use. But because someone died, Luther was charged with vehicular manslaughter. The legal battle was intense and public. Eventually, Luther accepted a plea deal. He pleaded no contest to reckless driving. His license was suspended for a year. The Silvemini family initially supported Luther, but later filed a wrongful death lawsuit. The case was settled out of court for $630,000. That's worth about $1.7 million today. Here's the shocking part. This tragedy didn't hurt Luther's career at all. He continued rising to superstardom like nothing happened. The public seemed to forget about the accident. His talent was so powerful, it overshadowed even this devastating incident. But Luther never forgot. The guilt of losing his friend stayed with him forever. By 2004, Luther was wheelchair-bound and struggling to speak, but he still wanted to connect with his fans. He agreed to an interview with Oprah Winfrey despite his condition. His niece initially opposed the appearance. She thought it was too risky given his health, but Luther's grandmother believed it would help other stroke victims. On camera with slurred speech and visible impairment, Luther told America, "Taking good care of your health is extremely important. Having diabetes is not a joke. Having a stroke from it is not either." Even in his broken state, Luther was trying to help others avoid his fate. He also made a touching appearance at the 2004 Grammy Awards via videotape. Despite his limitations, he sang the last 6 words of his acceptance speech. "When I say goodbye, it's never for long, because I believe in the power of love." Those were some of the last words Luther ever sang publicly. The public saw Luther as the perfect romantic crooner. His image was polished and professional. His love songs made people feel special and cherished. But they never saw the man behind the music. They didn't see the chronic pain from unmanaged diabetes. They didn't see the emotional pain of hiding his true self. They didn't see the guilt from the car accident. They didn't see the shame from constant body criticism. The media and entertainment industry created a narrative of perfection around Luther. Any struggles were downplayed or ignored. His weight issues were turned into jokes. His health problems were kept private. His sexuality was never discussed openly. This wasn't necessarily malicious lying, but it was lying by omission. The full truth of Luther's pain was hidden behind his beautiful voice and romantic image. Luther's story is both tragic and inspiring. Yes, he died too young from preventable causes. Yes, he lived with secrets that caused him pain. Yes, he carried guilt from a terrible accident. But Luther also gave the world something beautiful. His music brought joy to millions. His voice provided comfort during heartbreak and celebration during love. Even while suffering, he kept creating art that touched souls. His final album, Dance with My Father, was deeply personal. The title track was about his father who died when Luther was young. It won multiple Grammy Awards, including Song of the Year. Luther Vandross died the most tragic death because it was preventable. Better health management could have saved him. A more accepting society might have let him live authentically. Less body shaming might have encouraged him to seek medical help sooner. The lies weren't in what people said about Luther. The lies were in what they didn't say. Behind the smooth love songs was a man fighting for his life, his identity, and his art every single day. Luther Vandross was more than just a singer. He was a survivor who turned his pain into beautiful music that will live forever.